Good morning, friends. So we have finished the theory of unit number 1, that is damped free vibration. Okay. So before start, I will just introduce myself. I am Sunita Fadkule, Associate Professor in Mechanical Engineering, working at JSPM Jaivantrao Sawant College of Engineering, Hadapsar, Pune. So today's topic is we are going to solve few problems on damped free vibrations. Okay. So what is your learning outcome? You will be able to determine damped natural frequency, then logarithmic decrement and damping ratio for under damped vibratory system. Okay. And even other vibratory system also. Okay. So before going to the problem number 1, let us revise what we have studied in damped free vibrations. So what we have studied, there are 3 types of damped system: over damped, critically damped and under damped system. So over damped system and critically damped system, it is having non-vibratory motion, and under damped system is having vibratory motion. Okay. So let us come to the first problem. This problem is taken from Grover. Okay. This is the problem on Coulomb damping. Okay. It is not on viscous damping, but one problem we will solve on Coulomb damping, that is dry friction damping. So let us read the problem. A horizontal spring mass system with Coulomb damping has a mass of 5 kg attached to a spring of stiffness 980 Newton per meter. Okay, that means mass is given 5 kg, m is equal to 5 kg, k is given 980 Newton per meter. If the coefficient of friction is 0.025, calculate. So that means mu is given 0.025. What we want to calculate? The frequency of free oscillations, that is Fn. Then number of cycles corresponding to the 50% reduction in amplitude if initial amplitude is 5 centimeter. So Fn is equal to question mark, then number of cycle is question mark, and what is given? Initial amplitude, that is given 50 mm, that is 5 centimeter. And then we have to also decide the time taken to achieve this 50% reduction. Okay, that's why that means T5, capital T5 we have to determine. Okay, so as this is the Coulomb damping, we know that the system will vibrate with natural frequency only, that is omega n. Okay, and frictional force will be present there. So what is frictional force is given by, let us calculate the frictional force first. F is equal to mu into mg. Okay, m is given, g is 9.81, mu is given. So frictional force is coming out to be 1.225 Newton. Okay, now how to calculate omega n? Your simple formula, square root of k upon m. K is given 980 Newton per meter, m is given 5 kg. So omega n is equal to 14.0 radian per second, and Fn is equal to 1 upon 2 pi into omega n. So that comes out to be 2.23 hertz. Okay. Now, number of cycles. We have to find out number of cycles for the reduction in amplitude 0.025. Now, what is given? That initial amplitude is given 0.05 meter. Everything we are taking in meter. Right? Then amplitude after 50% reduction. Okay, so what will be the amplitude after 50% reduction? So 50% of 0.05, that means 0.025 meter. Okay, so how much is the total reduction in amplitude? Initially 0.05, 50% reduction means 0.025. So 0.05 minus 0.025 is equal to 0.025 meter. This is the total reduction in amplitude. And we have to find out how many number of cycles are required to determine, to reach to this 0.025 meter reduction in amplitude. Okay. Now we know that reduction in amplitude per cycle. How it is given? In Coulomb damping, it is given by 4F upon K. It is constant in every cycle, that reduction. 4F upon K, where F is the frictional force, K is the spring stiffness. Okay, so F is already we have calculated 1.225 and K is given 980. So we found out the reduction in amplitude in one cycle, that is 0.005 meter. Okay, now compare A and B. Here we want to find the reduction is given 0.025 meter. which we want to find out number of cycle, and reduction in one cycle it is 0.005 meter. Okay, so how we can find out number of cycles? Number of cycles for 50% reduction is given by total reduction in amplitude divided by reduction in amplitude per cycle. So how much is the total reduction in amplitude? We have to find out 0.025. And how much is the reduction in amplitude per cycle? 0.005. Okay, that means A upon B. So it comes out to be 5 cycles. So that means what? Number of cycles required are 5 to get the reduction of 0.025 meter. Okay. Now we have to find out the time period. Time required to complete 5 cycles. Okay. So what is the time required to complete one cycle? It is simple formula. T is equal to 2 pi upon omega n. Okay. So this is time required for one cycle. So how much is the time required for 5 cycles? Simply 5 into 2 pi upon omega n. So T5 is equal to 5 into 2 pi upon omega n, which already we have calculated, that is 14. So it comes out to be T5 is equal to 2.24 seconds. So this is the time required for 5 number of cycles, that is 2.24 seconds. Okay. The problem is very simple. You have to just think, okay, and you have to follow the reverse process. That means just go from this time and then reduction, okay, and then go to the given data. Now, second problem. This is based on the damped free vibration. Okay, so let us read the problem. This is also I have taken from Grover. The mass of a spring mass dashpot system is given an initial velocity from equilibrium position of A into omega n. Okay, that means certain figure is there, you can say. They have written in terms of letters. So A into omega n is the initial velocity. Okay, where omega n is undamped natural frequency of the system. Find the equation of motion for the system for the cases when. What is the first case? Zeta is equal to 2.0. Find out the equation of motion. When zeta is equal to 1.0, that is second case. Find out the equation of motion. And for the third case, that is zeta is equal to 0.2. Again, we have to find out the equation of motion. And finally, we have to plot the displacement time graph for these three cases. Okay. So let us consider the first case. In first case, what is the value of zeta is given? That is 2.0. That is over damped system because zeta is greater than 1. Okay. So we have already studied that the solution of differential equation for over damped system is given by x is equal to c1 e raised to s1t. What is your s1? Minus zeta plus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n t plus c2 into e raised to s2t. What is s2? Minus zeta minus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n into t. Okay. So here put the value of zeta. Zeta is equal to what? 2.0. So putting the value of zeta here, this equation will be simplified as x is equal to c1 e raised to minus 0.27 omega n t plus c2 into e raised to minus 3.73 omega n t. Okay. So this is the equation now. Now see, we have to put the second initial condition also, that is of velocity. So directly we are differentiating this x. Okay. So x dot is equal to differentiating this equation. Okay. How do you differentiate? E raised to say 5x is differentiation is 5 e raised to 5x. So here also x dot is equal to this c1 as it is, then minus 0.27 omega n c1 into e raised to minus 0.27 omega n t. What is the differentiation of second term? As it is minus, here there will be minus sign. So minus 3.73 omega n, that is this term, into c2 into e raised to minus 3.73 omega n t. Okay. Now we have to apply the initial conditions. Why? Because we want to find out the values of two constants, that is c1 and c2. Okay. So what is the first initial condition? At t is equal to 0, x is equal to 0. Okay. And second initial condition, at t is equal to 0, x dot is equal to a into omega n. It is given in the problem. Velocity is not 0, but velocity is having certain magnitude, that is a into omega n. Okay. So let us put the first condition. At t is equal to 0, x is equal to 0. So when I put here x is equal to 0, c1 e raised to 0 plus c2 e raised to 0. So what does it give us? 0 is equal to c1 into e raised to 0 plus c2 e raised to 0. That means c1 plus c2 is equal to 0. Keep it as it is. Okay. Now put the second condition. At t is equal to 0, x dot is equal to a into omega n. So this is our equation. Okay. So x dot is a into omega n is equal to minus 0.27 omega n c1 into e raised to 0 minus 3.73 omega n c2 into e raised to 0. Okay. So this we have written here. A into omega n is this equation. Okay. So solving these two equations. Okay. What is the first equation? C1 plus C2 is equal to 0. Second equation, A omega n is equal to minus 0.27 omega n C1 minus 3.73 omega n into C2. So solving these two simultaneous equations, we will get the values of C1 and C2. So what did we get? C1 is equal to 0.288A. Okay. And C2 is equal to minus 0.288A. A is certain constant. It is nothing to do with A2 or like that. So we got the values of C1 and C2. So just put the values of C1 and C2 into your equation, that is solution here. Okay. So x is equal to, let us see here, x is equal to 0.288A as C1 and C2. In both the terms, this is common. Okay. So that we have taken common out of bracket, that is 0.288A into bracket. What is remaining? E raised to minus 0.27 omega nt minus e raised to minus 3.73 omega nt. So this is the displacement given by the given for over a dam system. Okay. So for example, if we know omega n here, and if I want to find out, say at t is after 5 seconds, what will be the displacement? Okay. So at t, then put here value of t is equal to 5 seconds. We know omega n, a is also constant, which is always given. You can find out x. Okay. Now consider the second case. What is second case? Zeta is equal to 1. That means it is a critically damped system. What we have to find out? We have to determine the solution. Okay. So solution for critically damped system is given by x is equal to C1 plus C2t into e raised to minus omega n t. Okay. So here also we have to differentiate because we want to find out the values of C1 and C2 and put both the conditions. Okay. So 1 second. Okay. So what is x dot? Differentiating this one. Now see here we have to apply the rule of u into v. Okay. So what is u? C1 plus C2t. What is v? E raised to minus omega n t. So differentiate first v dv by dt. So that is minus omega n into e raised to minus omega n t, and this term as it is. Plus differentiate this one. What is the differentiation of C2 into t? It is C2. And keep this term as it is, e raised to minus omega n t. Okay. Now apply the first condition to this x. So x is equal to 0 at t is equal to 0. That means 0 is equal to C1 plus 0 into e raised to 0. So we will get C1 is equal to 0. Okay. Now apply second condition to this x dot. What is your second condition? X dot is equal to a omega n. So a omega n is equal to minus omega n into bracket C1 plus 0 because t is 0 into e raised to 0 plus C2 into e raised to 0. Okay. But C1 is 0. So what we will get? C2 is equal to a omega n. Okay. So after getting the values of C1 and C2, just put the values of C1 and C2 into this equation. This will be your final solution. So x is equal to, C1 is 0 only. What is C2? A omega n. So x is equal to a omega n t into e raised to minus omega n t. This is your equation. Okay. Now, case 3. What is the value of zeta? 0.2. So this is the case of underdamped vibration. Okay. Now all of you are familiar with this equation for underdamped vibration, which is very important case. X is given by A2 into e raised to minus zeta omega n t into sine square root of 1 minus zeta square into omega n t plus phi 2. Okay. So put the value of zeta here and here also. So what you will get? Putting zeta is equal to 0.2, x is equal to a2 e raised to minus 0.2 omega nt into sine 0.98 omega nt plus phi 2. Okay. Now differentiate this so that we can put the second condition. So x dot is equal to a2 is constant, and what's the differentiation of? Now again here you have to apply the rule of u into v. So u is e raised to minus 0.2 omega nt and v is this sine term. Okay. So a2 into differentiate this u, that is du by dt. So it is a minus sign. So that's why here we have written minus sign. So minus a2 into 0.2 omega n into e raised to minus 0.2 omega n t. Okay. Into sine term as it is. Okay. So this we have written as it is the sine term. Plus a2 as it is because constant. Okay. This term as it is e raised to minus 0.2 omega n t into differentiation of sine. So differentiation of sine is cos, and differentiation of this coefficient is 0.98 omega n. So here we have written 0.98 omega n into cos of 0.98 omega nt plus phi 2. Keep it as it is. Okay. Now first put the first initial condition, that is t is equal to 0 at x is equal to 0 at t is equal to 0. So 0 is equal to a2 e raised to 0 into sine 0 plus phi 2. See this equation. This is our equation. So 0 is equal to a2 into e raised to 0 into sine 0 plus phi 2. Okay. So what we will get? 0 is equal to a2 sine phi 2. Okay. So if from here only we can get the value of phi 2. Okay. Because see a2 cannot be equal to 0. Why? Because see a2 is the amplitude. It represents amplitude. If amplitude of vibration is 0, then there will be no vibration. No, this total right hand side is 0. That means x is equal to 0, and that is not possible because your vibrations are occurring. So a2 cannot be equal to 0. That means what? Sine phi 2 is equal to 0. That means phi 2 is equal to 0. Okay. So from here we can get phi 2 is equal to 0. Now let us put the second initial condition. What is it? X dot is equal to a omega n at t is equal to 0. So this is your equation of x dot. Okay. So a omega n is equal to minus a2 0.2 omega n into e raised to 0. Okay. Into sine 0 plus phi 2 plus a2 into e raised to 0 into 0.98 omega n into cos 0 plus phi 2. Okay. So this we have written here. Now just simplify it. A omega n is equal to minus 0.282 omega n sine phi 2. This first term. Plus, what is the second term? A2 0.98 omega n cos phi 2. Okay. Now from both the sides, omega n will be getting cancelled. So what is remaining? A is equal to minus 0.2 A2 sine phi 2 plus 0.98 A2 cos phi 2. Okay. Now as A2 into sine phi 2 is 0, we have seen from the first condition, A2 sine phi 2 is equal to 0. Okay. So putting 0 here, what we will be getting? A is equal to 0.98 A2 into cos phi 2. That means A2 cos phi 2 is equal to 1.0 A sine. Okay. So here, let us consider equation A is what? This is 0 is equal to A2 sine phi 2 and 1.02 A is equal to A2 cos phi 2. So take a ratio. Okay. So sine phi 2 upon cos phi 2 is equal to tan phi 2. Okay, which is equal to 0 because this is equal to 0. Okay. So that means automatically we are getting phi 2 is equal to 0. And once we put here phi 2 is equal to 0. Okay. What we will get? A2 is equal to 1.02 A because when cos 0 is 1. So we got the values of two constant. What is first? Phi 2 is equal to 0 and second A2 is equal to 1.02 A. So just put the value of A2 and phi 2 into our equation of displacement. That is x is equal to A2, that is 1.02 A into e raised to minus zeta omega nt, that is 0.2 omega nt into sine 0.98 omega nt plus phi 2 was there, but phi 2 was 0. Okay. So this was the second problem which was combined for all three cases. So here is the plot. Okay. See here the graph of x upon a. It's a dimensionless graph. What is a? A is the amplitude. So a x upon a. Okay, maximum value is here, maximum can be 1. Okay, so zeta is equal to 2, that is over damped system. See, once the system will be displaced here, it will be taking more time to come to the equilibrium position. It is non-vibratory motion. Okay, so that is a over damped system. What is the graph for critically damped system? Zeta is equal to 1. Once the system will disturb and will come here at the maximum displacement, then it will be coming to the rest position in minimum possible time. Okay, that is a critically damped system. And what is the third case? Zeta is equal to 0.2. That is the case of under damped system. Okay, so once the system will be disturbed and coming here, so it will be having vibratory motion. And in each cycle, there will be reduction, and finally it will come to the rest position. Okay, so this is the time displacement plot for all three cases. Okay, now let us move to the third problem, which I have taken from VPC. Okay, a body of mass 100 kg is suspended from a spring of 180 Newton per centimeter. Okay, that means M is given 100 kg, K is given 180 Newton per centimeter, convert it into meter. Okay, so that will be 180 into 10 raised to 2 Newton per meter. Okay, then what else is given? A dashpot is connected between the mass and the ground with a damping resistance of 1 Newton at a velocity of 6 centimeter per second. Okay. Now see, such a big sentence. A dashpot is connected between the mass and the ground with a damping resistance of 1 Newton at a velocity of 6 centimeter per second. The meaning of full sentence is that, see the unit. See, 1 Newton resistance, that is force, per unit velocity, that is 6 centimeter per second. What does it mean? That means they have given C. What is C? Damping coefficient. What is the definition of C? C is equal to force per unit velocity, F upon x dot. What is F? Is given 1 Newton. What is the velocity given? 6 centimeter per second. So this is nothing but C, force per unit velocity. So force upon velocity will give you damping coefficient. So C is equal to 1 Newton upon 6 centimeter per second. Convert into meter per second. Okay. So it will be into 10 raised to minus 2, that will be going in the numerator and become plus. So 100 upon 6, that is 16.67 Newton second per meter. That means C, damping coefficient, is given. Okay. Then determine the critical damping coefficient. What is the notation for critical damping coefficient? Cc. Secondly, we have to determine the amplitude of the body 10 cycles after it was released from an initial amplitude of 2.5 centimeter. So initial amplitude is given 2.5 centimeter, and we have to determine the amplitude of the body after 10 cycles. Okay. So that means after 10 cycle, what will be the notation for amplitude? X11 in our language. Okay. In as per our formula. So Cc is equal to question mark, that is critical damping coefficient. X11 is equal to question mark, that is amplitude after 10 number of cycles. Okay. These two things we have to determine. Then X1 is given 2.5 centimeter, that becomes 0.025 meter. Okay. So you can find out omega n, you can find out Cc. Okay. See, what is the formula for omega n? Square root of K upon M. K is given, M is given. Find out omega n, that is 13.42 radian per second. Okay. Then you find out Cc, critical damping coefficient. You know this is 2m into omega n. So 2m is given 100 kg, omega n just we calculated. So Cc is equal to 2683.28 Newton second per meter. Okay, then we can find out zeta because C is given, CC we have found out. So zeta is equal to C upon CC, that is 16.67 upon 2683.28 is equal to 0.00619. This is zeta, and from zeta what we will find out? Delta. Okay, so you know this formula we have derived. Delta is equal to 2 pi zeta upon square root of 1 minus zeta square. Okay, so zeta we have calculated 0.00619. So delta is equal to 2 pi 0.00619 upon square root of 1 minus zeta square. Okay, so we get delta is equal to 0.0389. It doesn't have any unit because it's a ratio basically. So delta is equal to 0.0389. Once we get delta, what we want to find out? C, this one. Okay, that means amplitude after 10 number of cycle, that is x11 we want to find out. So what is the formula of delta? Delta is equal to 1 upon n log base to e x1 upon x n plus 1. So what is the value of n here? 10. So put the value of n, that is 1 upon 10 into log base to e. What is the initial amplitude? It is given x1 0.025 meter upon x11. Okay, now already we have written C zeta. Okay, zeta we already found out. Sorry, delta we already found out. Delta is equal to 0.0389. So 0.0389, okay, is equal to 1 upon 10. This 10 I have taken here. 1 upon 10 into log base to e 0.025 upon x11. How will you find out x11? Take e raised to on both the side. E raised to something, e raised to log of something. Okay, so it will be e raised to 0.389 is equal to e raised to log. So that will be anti-log is there. So it will simply become 0.025 upon x11. So x11 is equal to, take this on this side and e raised to this term on take on right hand side. So x11 is equal to 0.0169 meter. Okay, so this is the amplitude after 10th cycle, x11. Understood? Now let us move to the next problem. Okay, a gun, it is I have taken it from Haidari. Okay, a gun barrel weighing 600 kg has a recoil spring of 350 kg per centimeter. That means mass is given 600 kg and spring stiffness is given in kg per centimeter. That we have to convert it into Newton per meter. Okay, so here see, m is equal to 600 kg, k is equal to 350 into 9.81 into 10 raised to 2 Newton per meter. Okay, that means 343350 Newton per meter. Okay, next, if the barrel recoils 1 meter on firing, okay, that means the spring displacement will be 1 meter. Okay, find the initial recoil velocity of the gun, that means v, that is x dot we have to find out. Okay, and secondly the critical damping coefficient which is engaged at the end of the recoil stroke, that is cc we want to find out. Okay, and here we have to assume that no energy is lost in recoil of the barrel. That means while converting potential energy into kinetic energy or vice versa, we have to assume there is no loss. It's an ideal case. Okay, so m and k is given. Okay, now this is the problem which is based on the energy system. Okay, so what is the energy stored at the end of the recoil? That is nothing but the potential energy, that is strain energy stored in a spring. How it is given? We know it is given by 1/2 k x square. Okay, so here so as the recoil is 1 meter, see it is given recoil is 1 meter of if the barrel recoils 1 meter on firing. Okay, so here where is this one? Okay, 1. So potential energy is equal to 1/2 k x square. So k is already given, x is 1 meter. So this is your potential energy, 171675 Newton meter. Okay, now kinetic energy, what is the initial kinetic energy of the barrel? So it would be 1/2 mv square, that is mx dot square. Okay, so 1/2 m is given 600. Okay, and V unknown, which we want to find out. Okay, so kinetic energy is equal to 300 V square. Okay, so see, this is potential energy, this is kinetic energy, and as there is no loss, this is the assumption, so kinetic energy is equal to potential energy. Okay, so 300 V square is equal to 171675. That means we got V is equal to 23.92 meter per second. Okay, so initial recoil velocity of the gun is 23.92 meter per second. Okay, now secondly, what we want to find out? Critical damping coefficient, CC, that is equal to 2m omega n. Okay, so find out omega n, which is nothing but square root of k upon m. K is given, okay, m is given. So find out omega, that is 23.92 radian per second. Okay, so CC is equal to 2 into m is omega 600, omega n is 23.92. Okay, so critical damping coefficient is 28,706 Newton second per meter. Okay, now next problem. This is on torsional vibration. Okay, but you know there is a analogy between the longitudinal vibration and torsional vibration. So all formulas are same except x is replaced by theta. Okay, so let us read the problem. A flywheel of mass 10 kg and radius of gyration 0.3 meter makes torsional rotation under a torsion spring of stiffness 5 Newton meter per radian. So what is given? See, m is given 10 kg. K, that is radius of gyration, is given 0.3 meter. So what we can find out from m and k? That is I, that is mass moment of inertia. Okay, so m into k square. Okay, that is given by mk square. So mass moment of inertia is 0.9 kg meter square. Okay, then what is given? 5. The spring stiffness is given. It's a torsional spring. It's not helical tension spring or helical compression spring. Okay, so it is a torsional spring having the spring stiffness 5 Newton meter per radian. So that we will call as a KT. Okay, then a viscous damper is fitted and it is found that the amplitude is reduced by a factor 100 over any 2 complete cycles. Means what? See, this is our formula. Delta is equal to, don't consider this formula, delta is equal to 1 upon n into log base 2e x1 upon x n plus 1. Okay, now come over 2 cycle means what? See, read this sentence, very important. It is found that the amplitude is reduced by a factor 100. That means 100 over any 2 complete cycle, means number of cycles are 2. Okay, so how will you write down this formula? Number of cycles are 2, that is 1/2. Okay, n is equal to 2 into log base 2e x1 upon x3. Okay, so delta is equal to 1/2 log base 2e x1 upon x3. Okay, now x1 upon x3 is given 100. That means what? See, when x1 is equal to 1, x3 is equal to, it is reduced by 100, so it is 100. So delta is equal to 1/2 log base 2e 100. That is delta is equal to 2.3026. Okay, so once we get delta, what we can find out? Zeta. Okay, so zeta is equal to delta upon square root of 4 pi square plus delta square. This, either you use this equation, or if you remember the equation, delta is equal to 2 pi zeta upon square root of 1 minus zeta square. Use any one equation. This equation is derived from that one only. Okay, so zeta is equal to delta square root of upon square root of 4 pi square plus delta square. So delta just we have found out. So delta is known to you. 4 pi square is constant. You find out zeta. Okay, so the value of zeta is 0.344, which is nothing but the damping factor. Okay, now what else is asked further? We have found out zeta. Okay, and now we want to find out C and T. See here, find damping factor, that is zeta, find damping coefficient, that is C, then find periodic time of damped vibration, that is TD. Okay, so already we have found out zeta. Now let us find out the C, that is damping coefficient. Okay, so We know that damping coefficient, say damping ratio zeta is equal to C upon Cc. For torsional, we will write down Ct upon Cct. Okay, what is Cct? Cct means it is a critical damping coefficient, which is equal to 2 square root of Kt into I. But we want to find out Ct. So Ct is equal to 2 square root of Kt into I into zeta. See, it is written here. Okay, so 2 into zeta we have just found out, into square root of Kt. Kt is directly given 5 Newton second per radian, and I we have calculated mk square 0.9. Okay, so Ct is equal Cct basically. Ct. This is Ct. So damping coefficient is equal to 1.459 Newton meter second per radian. Okay, so damping coefficient is 1.459 Newton meter second per radian. Now, thirdly, we have to find out time required, time period for damp vibration. Okay, what is the time period is given by T is equal to 2 pi upon omega d. So that means I want to find out omega d. What is omega d? Omega d is equal to, see this one, square root of 1 minus zeta square into omega n. Zeta already we have found out. So find out omega n so that you can find out omega d. So what is omega n? Square root of Kt upon I. Okay, for torsional vibration. So put the value of Kt, which is directly given 5. Put the value of I, which we have calculated 0.9. That is omega n is equal to 2.357 radian per second. Okay. So once we find out omega n, put the value of omega n here, zeta here, we will get omega d. That is 2.213 radian per second. Once we get omega b, put the value here, 2 pi upon omega d, you will get time period. That means what? Time required to complete one cycle in under damped system is here 2.84 seconds. Okay. So this is the problem. Now, next problem. Okay. I think we can complete one more problem. Let us see. Okay. So, the disc, this is again based on torsional vibration. Okay. A disc of a torsional pendulum has a mass moment of inertia 0.06 kg meter square. So that means I is directly given here, 0.06 kg meter square. The brass shaft attached to it is of 100 mm diameter. Okay, that means D is equal to 100 mm. Then 400 mm long, that is L is equal to 400 mm. Okay, shaft length. When the pendulum is vibrating, the observed amplitudes on the same side of the rest position for successive cycles are 9 degree, 6 degree, 4 degree. Okay, what we are supposed to find out? Logarithmic decrement, damping torque at unit velocity, and periodic time of vibration. Okay, and what is given? Modulus of rigidity, that is value of G, capital G. Modulus of rigidity for the shaft material, it is given 4.4 into 10 raised to 10. Okay, so finally it is also asked what would be the frequency if the disc is removed from viscous fluid. Okay, so let us see given data. I is equal to 0.06 kg meter square. Diameter of the shaft D is equal to 0.1 meter. Length of the shaft is 0.4 meter. Immediately we can calculate J. What is J? It is a polar moment of inertia because we require to calculate the Kt here. Kt is not directly given, that is torsional stiffness of the shaft. So polar moment of inertia of the shaft is given, it's a circular shaft. So it is given by pi by 32 D4. D is known. So what is J? 9.81 into 10 raised to minus 6 meter 4. Okay. Now see here it is given that 9 degree, 6 degree, 4 degree, like this the reduction is there. Okay. So that means x1 here, instead of x1 we can call theta 1, suppose I have written here. So theta 1 is given 9 degree, theta 2 is given 6 degree, theta 3 is given 4 degree. Okay. So it is theta 1 upon theta 2 must be equal to theta 2 upon theta 3 must be equal to theta 3 upon theta 4, like this. Okay. So that means 9 upon 6 is equal to 6 upon 4 is equal to 3 upon 2. You can take anything. Okay. So what else we have to find out? Delta, that is logarithmic decrement. Ct, that is damping coefficient. Then T, that is time period. Okay. So let us find out first logarithmic decrement, which is given by delta is equal to log base 2e theta 1 upon theta 2. Okay. That means either you take 9 upon 6 or 6 upon 4 or 3 upon 2. One and the same thing. So delta is equal to log base 2e 3 by 2, which means delta is equal to 0.405. Okay. We got first value. Now the second thing, damping torque per unit velocity. What is the meaning of this one? damping torque per unit velocity. For longitudinal, it will be damping force per unit velocity, which is nothing but the C value. That means damping coefficient. Okay. So to find out damping coefficient, what we have to find out? Ct is equal to 2 zeta square root of kt into I. How it has given, how it will be? See, this is the formula. Zeta is equal to ct upon cct. What is cct? 2 square root of k into m. For torsional, it is kt into I. Okay, so we want to find out ct. So ct is equal to 2 zeta square root of kt upon I. Now zeta we have already found out. I is directly given. So we have to find out kt. So what is kt? Kt is equal to T upon theta. That means F upon in longitudinal terms. Okay, it will be F upon V. Okay, so here it will be say T upon theta. Okay, you know the basic equation of torque equation, that is say T upon J is equal to G theta upon L. From this equation as T upon T upon J is equal to G theta upon L. So I want to find out T upon theta, that is torque per unit displacement, that is nothing but the KT, that is spring stiffness. So KT is equal to T upon theta, that is equal to GJ upon L. We know everything. Put the value of G, that is directly given, modulus of rigidity. We have found out J, that is polar moment of inertia, and then what is the length of the shaft, that is 0.4. So we have found out KT, that is 1.08 into 10 raised to 6 Newton meter per radian. Okay. So once we find out KT, put here the value of KT, that is CT is equal to 2 zeta square of KT into I. So we found out CT, that is damping coefficient. 32 karte mi phone. 32.735 Newton meter second per radian. Okay. Now, finally, we want to find out periodic time of vibration. Okay. So what is the periodic time is given? 2 pi upon omega d for under damped vibration. So what is omega d? We have to find out omega d. See, omega d is given by omega n square root of 1 minus zeta square. Omega zeta is already we have found out. Find out omega n, which is nothing but square root of kt upon I. Already kt we have found out. I we have found out. Okay. So this will be omega n. Once we know omega n and zeta, find out omega d. Once we know omega d, find out t, that is time period 2 upon omega d. So this is 0.00148 second. Okay. Finally, what is asked? If disk is removed from the fluid, what is the frequency with which system will vibrate? Now, removed from the fluid means what? Damping is vanished. Damping is not provided now. Damping is made zero. That means system will vibrate with natural frequency. So how will you find out the frequency then? Fn is equal to simply 1 upon 2.2 omega n. Omega n already we have calculated. So this is the natural frequency. System will vibrate with natural frequency 675.24 hertz. Okay. Now this is the last problem. Please you solve it at home. This is very similar to this one. Okay. So what else is given? Following data is given for a viscous damper. M is given, K is given. The amplitude reduces to 0.25 of initial amplitude. Okay. Into 5 number of cycles. Find the damping coefficient. So 5 number of cycles means x upon x's is given. Say if x1 is 1, x's is 0.25 it is given. We want to find out C. N is equal to 5. So this is the case. First you find out delta, then zeta, and from zeta you find out C. Okay. This is asked. Okay. And then in this problem also, the similar problem is there. Please solve it at the home. This is the homework for you. These last 2 problems. Okay. Last 3 problems, sorry. Okay. So let me complete my recording. Maybe is that one. Okay. Stop recording.